Sup guys, this is Jess and I wanted to start off with a new year by doing new uploads every week. Hopefully it'll be something I can stick to. I'm hoping to stick to a schedule of uploading a new video every Sunday. To start off, I thought with it being a new year, I'd do some reflection videos on some of the things that came out last year. So whether it be movies, shows, maybe games, I'm not sure. To kick it off, I wanted to reflect on some of the films that I saw last year, particularly like my top 10 list. Even though it's not really, in order, my number one definitely is like my favourite film of the year, but the other ones listed are some of the films that I enjoyed this year. Looking back, I had a look at the films that I actually saw this year and I realised, particularly new releases, it wasn't as many as I thought it was. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see everything that I wanted to this year, so here's a quick list of some of the things that I missed that I wanted to see. Before I get into my top 10 list, I'm just going to go through some honourable mentions of a few films that I enjoyed but they didn't make the list. First on that honourable mentions list is Beauty and the Beast, which I'm not normally a fan of musicals, but I quite enjoyed this one. Another film that I got to see this year, maybe a bit later this year because I watched it at my dad's over Christmas, was Life. I really enjoyed it. It was a really solid horror and I will probably pick myself up a copy when I can. Another film I saw this year was Wind River. I'll be honest, I mainly watched it for some of the actors in it, particularly like Jeremy Renner and John Bernthal and Elizabeth Olsen. It was a really sad film and really horrible film, but I mean that not in a bad way. It was very shocking and I think it kind of reflected on things that actually do happen. But overall it was a very solid film and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nominated for some Oscars. Another film I watched, which was over Christmas as well because it hit Netflix, was Bright with Will Smith. It was a fun film. It wasn't perfect, I'll admit that. It did feel a bit rushed in places and I think it would have worked better maybe as a mini-series. But I really liked the world building in it and I think it brought up interesting conversations about racism. It was a really fun film. I really quite enjoyed it and I'm up for seeing a sequel. Another film I saw this year was Kong Skull Island. It was a really fun film and I had a lot of fun with it and I'm curious to see what they've set up for the future. Another film I saw this year was Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales. I still use that title because over here in the UK it was called Salazar's Revenge instead and it just sounded really corny. I didn't like that title at all, that they changed it to that over here and I was like, it doesn't suit it. It's not very good, but it wasn't perfect, but I saw it as a fun popcorn flick and I was happy to see Will and Elizabeth back because I loved them in the original trilogy. Elizabeth was probably my favourite because I loved her character development over it and how she became a pirate captain in the third one. But it was great to see them back and I think they're going to be back for other sequels and things, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm very much looking forward to that. So now we're actually getting into my top 10 list. So I don't feel like this is completely in any particular order. Some will probably be, but I know for sure number one will be my favourite film of the year. But without further ado. Number 10, Alien Covenant. Now I know this kind of maybe divided people a bit, much like Prometheus did, but I was one of the ones that fairly enjoyed Prometheus. I didn't think it was as good as the original Alien and Aliens, but I still fairly enjoyed it. Alien Covenant I quite enjoyed. I really enjoyed it. And it was interesting to see almost another origin for the alien. Now I saw it as not an origin story for all of the aliens, because that kind of contradicts some of the stuff that's come before and some of the stuff that they've done in comics and things. But I saw it as David actually developed some of the xenomorphs but not all of them, and I thought that was I think it was a very interesting film. I've got to give props to Mike Fassbender for not just giving one solid performance but two. It was really interesting to see the contrast between the two different androids he played. It was a really good film. I really enjoyed it. At number 9 I have put the Lego Batman movie. I think it was back in 2014 I went and saw the Lego movie. I grew up with Lego and I absolutely loved it. It was really fun and I'm a big kid at heart, so I was like, yeah, this is my jam. And I'm not normally the biggest Batman fan. I think I prefer more of his supporting characters than the actual character himself. But this is actually a really solid Batman movie. I mean, even though it is comedic and for kids, I think they nailed Batman really well in this film and it was really fun. It was a really fun film. I mean, I can't get over that article that I read where it said that Lego Batman was too gay for kids. It made me laugh. They swapped out the romantic subplot for arch nemesis plot, but it's I I hate you too. I see what you did there. It was great. Number 8, I put John Wick Chapter 2. I think I saw the original John Wick actually not that long before I saw the second one, and I really enjoyed it. I like my action films. It's very stylish. Action was solid. Brilliant performance from Keanu Reeves. Fantastic. I remember going to see this because my mom's a big Keanu Reeves fan, and we went to see it just before her birthday, I think, or just after. It was around, I mean, it came out around her birthday anyway in February. So we had a lot of fun with it, and I don't think it is as good as the first one. I'm not sure. I need to give it another watch, but I still had a blast with it. And one bonus for this one was that at least the dog survived this one. I know your house blew up, but at least the dog was okay. That's the important thing. I would give some warning, there is a fairly graphic suicide scene in it. I think they give some warning in the beginning of the film, but it does involve a woman in a bathtub, so just some warning out there if you guys want to check the film out for yourselves and you haven't seen it yet, and that might be something that's not good for you. Number 7, I put War for the Planet of the Apes. I think I watched Dawn I remember going to the cinema to watch Rise of the Planet of the Apes with my dad and my brother, I think. The Dawn I actually watched, I think it was long after it come out. I think it was about a year or two after it come out. I think I watched Dawn in like 2016. So we watched War. I went with my mom and her partner, and lots of tears. I mean, it was a fantastic war movie. It was really heartbreaking. It was a really good war movie. It was fantastic performances. Andy Serkis deserves a friggin' Oscar, I think. You know, just because a lot of the time he's in a motion capture suit, he still delivers amazing, fantastic performances. He moved me to tears as Caesar. He was so good, and it was just heartbreakingly beautiful. I think that's a good way to describe it. I didn't realise, like, big spoiler, of course, Caesar dies at the end. I think I didn't initially realise because I think I'd seen some of the original ones, but I couldn't remember the main name of the ape that actually helped the humans. And I thought it was Caesar. I know it began with a C, but I initially thought it was Caesar, not Cornelius, his son. So it was getting towards the end, and I was like, wait, he can't die. Isn't he in the original? And then it clicked, and I was like, my mom told me, and she was like, no, it's Cornelius. And I was like, oh god, that's really sad. It was a fantastic finale to a fantastic trilogy. Number 6, I put Spider-Man Homecoming. Even though I'll admit I could have waited for another Spider-Man movie, I was more excited for like Black Panther and Captain Marvel. I was like, I can wait for Spider-Man. But saying that, I did grow up with Spider-Man and I really enjoyed this. It was a really fun film, and I think Tom Holland is probably my favourite Spider-Man. I grew up with Tobey Maguire, and I watched Andrew Garfield's ones, and I did enjoy them. Garfield's ones did have some flaws at times, and so did Maguire's. I think they've narrowed down and actually got a good actor to play both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And it was a really fun film. It was a really, really fun film. It made a change for actually like the kids at the high school to actually look like they were in high school. I mean, I think Tom Holland's about my age or just a little bit older, but I think a young 20-year-old can actually pass more of a high school student than an actual guy in his 30s. So it made more like sense and it worked better. I had an absolute blast with this film. It was funny, it was action packed. I really liked it. It was a really fun film. Michael Keaton as well as Vulture. Fantastic performance. It was really good. I freaked out, I think, when the Marvel Studios logo came on and they'd mixed in like with the Marvel theme with the old classic like Spider-Man theme, I think from the cartoons or something. I was like, that's brilliant. I love that. It was a really fun film. I had a blast with it, and I can't wait to see more of Holland as Peter Parker. At number 5, I kind of put 2 movies instead of 1 because I don't think my mind's fully made up on both of them, because I went in initially and really enjoyed them, but I think I did have slight problems with them. But I think they're 2 movies I need to see again to make up my mind, and that was Thor Ragnarok and Justice League. I'll just start off with, I loved both of them. I really did. Even though I think they both had their problems, they did a lot of stuff right. Starting off with Thor Ragnarok, I am not really the biggest Thor fan, I'll be honest. I think out of the 3 big trilogies, I've been more of a fan of Captain America than I have of Thor. But I went into this film and I had a blast. It was really fun. It was great action and amazing visuals, and I liked what they did with some of the characters. I really liked what they did with Valkyrie. It sucks that they kind of cut the scene out of where they actually confirmed that this Valkyrie is bisexual, which I was really happy about because there was a lack of representation out there particularly like with LGBT groups and with minorities as well, and it was nice to have that representation. I was really happy about that. I loved Valkyrie, she was a fantastic addition, and I'm really glad that they didn't do a romance subplot with her and Thor, and I hope that they keep it that way. I'm glad that they didn't actually have a romance subplot in this one, and they just focused more on the action and then like Thor's friendship with Bruce. I really kind of liked that, and it was interesting to see more of the Hulk, and I had a lot of fun with that, with Jeff Goldblum basically playing Jeff Goldblum as Grandmaster. It was great, but overall I did have some problems with it. I do think maybe they could have brought the comedy back a little bit, but I need to watch it again to make up my mind. I don't know, it's one of those films I think I need to see again. Oh, also, I just thought Cate Blanchett as Hela was really good. She was a fantastic villain. I hope Hela's not dead, because I personally would love to see more of her. I will say, I think they wasted Karl Urban a bit. He's one of my favourite actors, and he wasn't, I don't think he was, I mean, I knew the role of Scourge a bit from the comics anyway, so I knew how it was going to end for him, but I hope he maybe takes another kind of big role in a superhero franchise, whether it's DC or it's Marvel or whether it's something else, because he is a fantastic actor. Although saying that, we might get more of him as Dredd, which I hope so. It was still nice to see him in a Marvel movie, I suppose. Also, in the spot I put Justice League, which I saw it as a really fun film. I had a lot of fun with it, but I also had a lot of problems, because it did feel a bit rushed, and it did feel like some people had been meddling with things a bit too much, as Warner Brothers has done in the past with DC movies, which sucks. I'm glad they didn't do that with Wonder Woman, but it did feel a bit rushed. It did feel very condensed, and there was some stuff that I heard that they originally shot which sounded way cooler, like with the black suit Superman and with the beard and stuff. I was like, I'm down for seeing this. It sounds better than what you did. Overall, I still had a blast with it, and one of the end credit scenes in particular got me very, very excited for what's to come. That was seeing Deathstroke. I was really happy about that, because I've seen like other portrayals of Deathstroke. I mean, they had Slade in the original Teen Titans series that I used to watch, and then they did a version of him on Arrow, and I really enjoy the character, and I'm really excited to see him like in the DCEU. It should be a lot of fun, and if the rumours are still right that he should be the main villain for the Batman movie they do, then I am down for that. Yeah, I think they set up a lot of fun things, but I think Justice League would have benefited from being longer and having less meddlesome reshoots and things, which I think unfortunately ruined the film in places, but I had a lot of fun with it, and I probably will watch it again, and I hope we maybe get a Zack Snyder cut of the film. I'd like to see that. I think a lot of people would like to see that. Also, another problem that I had was maybe some of the armour that they did for some of the Amazons in one of the scenes, because it was more sexualised than they did in the Wonder Woman film, and I just felt that it was entirely unnecessary. They didn't need to do that. They didn't do it with all of them. They did it with just a portion, but I still felt like that was just really unnecessary, and like, why did you need to do that? Overall, I had fun with both of these films, and I think I need to give them both a second viewing again to make up my mind. At number 4, I put Star Wars The Last Jedi, which I think is one of the biggest films this year that divided so many people, and I can understand why. I mean, I went in and I personally enjoyed it, but I won't deny that it had its problems. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I liked the new character of Rose. I liked some of the things that they did, although there were things that I felt like, did you really need to do that? But there was that kiss between Rose and Finn, which I felt was like, I guess a bit forced. I mean, kisses can mean totally different things sometimes, but I don't think that was probably what they weren't going for, but that's how I interpreted it. I was like, this doesn't feel, if anything, if Finn's gonna have any romance with anybody, I mean, I'm a big Finn and Poe shipper, so I was like, please, pretty please. But I think if he's gonna have any romance with anybody, I think they've been setting it up for it to be Rey. But I think even he was just like, what do I do with this? But there were some problems, especially as well with the Rebels, like with Poe and Holdo. They could have like solved some problems just by speaking to each other and telling each other what they were doing. Otherwise we wouldn't have to have had that mess at the end. I was just like, guys, this would help if you maybe just spoke to each other, and then we wouldn't have had these problems now, would we? But overall, I really enjoyed it. You had your gorgeous visuals, gorgeous creatures. I know the porgs as well. I've had people divided. Personally, I think they're really cute, but I know not everybody enjoyed them. I loved the story that they had to cover up a load of birds on the island with the porgs because it was a bit cheaper to do that. And I mean, of course, they probably made them for merchandising as well, but that's what I had to do, which I found really funny. I just thought, that's great. I could understand maybe some people's problems with Luke and some of the stuff that happens, but But overall, I really enjoyed it. Okay, apologies if you hear my computer in the background. I had to just quickly unload my SD card on my computer because I didn't realise it had gone full. So you'll probably hear the hum of my computer in the background right now. 3, I put Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, even though I think a lot of people said it wasn't as good as the first one, there was problems with it, I had a lot of fun with it. Guardians is still one of my favourite Marvel properties, because I remember, I think back when the first film was announced, I was very curious about it, so I started reading some of the new comic line, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I love my space adventures anyway. Like, if you set something in space, odds are I'm probably going to enjoy it. I really enjoyed getting to explore more of a more nebulous relationship, maybe seeing a bit more of a positive relationship and possibly seeing Nebula join the Guardians. I was really happy about that because they're kick-ass sisters and I'm just like, can they, you know, go around the galaxy kicking ass together? I'd be happy about that. The visuals were ridiculously amazing. I was like, holy crap, this is gorgeous. Particularly like Ego's planet. It's absolutely visually gorgeous and I loved it. I loved the new additions. I really loved Mantis. I thought she was really sweet. I'm not sure what she's like in the comics, so I don't know how much that they've changed her. It's interesting to see a different kind of character join them all, and I really liked her. Scenes with Drax were really kind of sweet and funny. Although saying that with Drax, I think with some of it they hammed up the humour with him a bit too much, because I've always kind of read him as more of like a warrior type, even though yeah, he had his humour in the first one. He's still like very much a warrior, and I don't think we got to see much of that. But overall, I had a lot of fun with it. I really loved it. The soundtrack was always on point, and look, I'm with everybody else. Baby Groot is adorable and he's so cute. He's really cute, and I really like kind of the flash forward in one of the end credit scenes of Teenage Groot. I thought that was really funny. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm probably mostly biased when it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy because it's one of my favourite Marvel properties, but so is Saldana, is one of my favourite actresses and one of my biggest celebrity crushes because she's so awesome. She kicks ass. So I was glad to get more of that, of her as Gamora kicking ass. I'm really looking forward to Infinity War, seeing the Guardians interact with like members of the Avengers, particularly like Thor and stuff. And I'm really looking forward to that and the riffs off of each other, because I know Rocket's gonna be a pain in the ass with people. It's gonna be great. Either way, it was a really fun film. I had a blast with it. At number 2, I put Logan. My god, this film was amazing and it was a perfect swan song for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I cried my eyes out, as you do, and it was a really, really beautiful and heartbreaking film. I mean, I think it's one of those films I think I have to be in the right mood and not be in like, if I've had a miserable day, I probably won't stick it on. But I think it's one of those films as well, the performances and the way they did the storytelling and everything, I would put it up for Oscars. I would really put it up for Oscars. It was absolutely brilliant and so heartbreaking, but it was also a very kind of fitting end, I think, as well, to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's sad that we're not going to see any more of it, because I grew up, you know, watching him as Wolverine. I think when the first X-Men movie came out, I was like 4 or 3 years old, so I've kind of like grown up with it a lot in my life, and it's sad to see them go. Him and Patrick Stewart as well. I mean, I don't know if Patrick Stewart's gonna completely call it quits now, but it's sad. It was a really sad film. I got a lot of The Last of Us vibes from the film, and it's sentimental for me. I was like, because I think they're still in talks to do a Last of Us movie, that I think Hugh Jackman would be really good as Joel. I know I think Troy Baker said he wanted Josh Brolin as Joel if they went ahead with it, but seeing Hugh Jackman in that film, I was like, yeah, he would be amazing as Joel. I think he'd do a fantastic job, even though I'm still a bit because it's The Last of Us, it's one of my favourite video games, and like, are they going to do it justice? I'm hoping they don't follow the story of the game, that they do something maybe a bit separate, maybe set between the 2 games. Anyway, really fantastic films. If it doesn't get nominated for any Oscars, I'm calling bullshit. This is fantastic. Number 1, it's Wonder Woman. I loved this film so much. It was my favourite film of the past year. I had an absolute blast with it. I got to see it twice in the cinema. Oh my god, I loved it. I loved it so much. I think it's the kind of film that I have wanted since I was a kid, because I was sat there and it reminded me of when I was a little kid and when I wanted to pretend to be a superhero or fight bad guys and stuff when I was a kid, and it brought all that back. That sense of like empowerment and also wanting to do good and be kind and be cool and badass, and it brought all that back from like my childhood, and it moved me so much. I mean, I actually nearly cried in like No Man's Land scene, because to me that scene was just so empowering and amazing. And for me, I know a lot of people had their own different opinions on it, but for me as a woman, that film meant a lot to me, because it's rare, I think, that we get like some female-led movies that are like that, and it delivered some really amazing and solid messages. It was nice to have a female lead that wasn't like sexualized, really. People say, yeah, but what about her armor? But never did I see any ass shots, any tit shots. That just, it made my day. It fills me with hope for the next generation of young girls, that they'll be able to have a role model like that. It meant a lot to me, and I was really happy with it. Absolutely fantastic cast. I mean, I think they said the first portion of the movie, like a good like solid 10 minutes or half an hour or something, it was all women, and that was it. And I don't think that we've really had that before. And I loved all the Amazon people that they cast. They had like those Olympic athletes. You got women in their 50s with like ripping muscles and stuff, and they didn't sexualize them. They gave them practical armor that would be based off something that Greek people probably would have worn. It filled me with so much like hope for the future of how women are portrayed. Also, a huge bonus was it had my favorite actor Chris Pine in, who delivered an amazing performance as Steve Trevor. I really ship him and Diana, and the end made me cry like a baby, but apparently he's coming back for Wonder Woman 2. Did he survive? Please say he survived, because I'd like to see more, and Diana deserves to be happy. It also fills me with a lot of hope for female directors directing the blockbusters, and just in general, because I think as well there are a lack of females behind the camera. Maybe not a lot of them want to get into the industry, but I know I do, and I think Patty Jenkins did an amazing job, and it makes me wonder what her Thor 2 would have looked like, because I know she was originally meant to direct that, and Gal Gadot was, I think that's how you say her name, I'm sorry if I butchered it, but she was so good, so good, and words cannot describe how much this film meant to me. It was my favourite movie of 2017. No, it's not very original, but I don't care because of how much I loved it and how much it meant to me personally. It fills me with more hope for Captain Marvel as well, potentially. I mean, we'll see how that goes. I have a feeling I'm probably going to nitpick it as well, because I know they're going to have to change stuff, which sucks, but it's the way the MCU's been built lately. But overall, I really loved Wonder Woman. It was my favourite movie this year. Right, that was my favourite films of 2017. Wouldn't say they were particularly in any complete order. They were just kind of ones that stood out to me this year, ones that I enjoyed. Probably going to continue this series. I think next week I'll probably be looking at some of the shows that I watched over 2017 and what I enjoyed, particularly maybe shows that came out. I might not necessarily do a top 10 list. I might just do more of like a discussion. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you later, guys. Bye!